right, guys, today we're gonna do a really cool project where I get to learn more about you. So we're gonna use adjectives in today's project to describe ourselves. So you kind of have to think of 4 different adjectives that describe you and just kind of have those in mind, and I'll show you where we're gonna use those later. But first, you have your paper. We're gonna make it go long on your table, long and tall, vertical is what we call it. You guys might want to do this with a pencil. I'm of course going to do it with a Sharpie so it shows up really well on the video. But right in the middle of my paper, I'm going to find the center and I'm going to draw a wavy line. Now I have 2 sections. I'm going to break each of these sections into 3 more sections. So I need to draw 2 more lines. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where I need to put my lines to have pretty equal spaces. I think about here looks good. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. So when we're all done, you should draw 5 lines and have 6 different little sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections, okay? Now, this is where those adjectives comes in, because in this top section, we're first gonna write I am, and I'm kind of letting my line be the bottom of my I. But we're writing I am, and you can see I'm making those letters. First of all, I'm making sure I'm drawing or writing my letters super nice and neat. But also I'm making sure those letters stretch all the way from the top of each space to the bottom of each space, okay? We wanna make sure that these letters go from this line all the way to the top, or in this section, it'll be from this line all the way to the next line, okay? So I am at the top, then at the bottom, you're gonna write your name, okay? And what I like to do, just to make sure I'm evenly spacing this out and I don't end up with like not enough room to write my whole name, or you know, there's too much room at the end, I like to find the middle letter in my name. So my name is Miss Lumpkin, L-U-M-P-K-I-N. So I have 7 letters, so L-U-M-P, the P is the middle letter. So I like to draw the P first, or whatever letter is in the middle of your name, right in the middle. So then I know, okay, I have this much space to write my L-U-M, and I have this much space to write my K-I-N, right? Just kind of helps me space out a little bit better so I know how much space I have for each letter. And again, I'm making sure I stretch those letters from the bottom of each section all the way to the top. Okay, there we go. So I've got my I am up here and I've got my name down here. Now, in each of these 4 sections in between, I want you to think of 4 words that describe you, 4 adjectives that describe you. So I think a great one for me would be creative. I'm definitely creative. So I like to count my letters to see how many, to see which letter would go in the middle. The A and the T are both in the middle because it has an even number of letters. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just be a little careful that I'm putting the space in the middle. So that's what I do. If I have a word with an even number of letters, I make sure that space between those 2 letters in the middle, I make sure that space is in the center, okay? And you can see how I'm doing like T's and E's and L's. I'm kind of just making that line a little thicker. Since it goes right up against that line, I'm just making it a little thicker where my letter is supposed to be. Okay, so I'm creative. Now I need to think of another word. What's another good word that describes me? I think artistic. I mean, I'm definitely artistic. I'm an art teacher. And for artistic, it's again, has an even number of letters. So I'm just going to put that space between the I and the S in the center. Okay, and now I think, I'm just gonna think of two more words. I think maybe hopeful and happy, maybe, will be my last two, or hopeful and joyful, maybe. We'll see. So I'm gonna figure out which letter goes in the center. And guys, you have to make your letters stretch all the way from the top of each space to the bottom, because that's really important for the next step. All right, so there is my I am with all of my adjectives that describe me in the center. Now we need to add some fun colors. So you can use crayons, markers, colored pencils, oil pastels, watercolor paints. You can use whatever you want to add colors to these. The only rule is that each space has to be a different color. And I'll show you as I color mine in here. So each space, a different color. And I have lots of colors. You might not have as many colors. That's totally fine. It's okay if you repeat colors at different times, but they can't be right next to each other. So if I color this space green, I can't then color this space or even a space under it green. I'm gonna color it a different color, okay? So I'm gonna time lapse this so you can kind of see how I do it, but just make sure anytime you hit a line, that means it has to be a new color. So even this A in here, this little triangle is going to be one color, and then this little space would be a different color, and then this little space would be a different color. It will take some patience, and I want you to make sure that you're doing nice, neat coloring. You can see with my markers, I like to outline a space first, because that makes it a little bit easier to stay in my lines. I very nicely and neatly outline my space, and then I can fill it in a little easier, okay? That's how I do mine. Now, like I said, I'm gonna time lapse so you can kind of see how I finish this. All right, guys, there is my finished project. I think it looks so cute. I'm so excited about all the fun little colors and my adjectives that describe me, so you guys get to know me a little bit better, and when I see yours, I'll get to know you a little bit better. Some things to remember: make sure that you're coloring first very neatly and nicely, so it doesn't look scribbly or messy. You can see it looks really cool if you're coloring neatly. Make sure your letters stretch all the way from the top and bottom of each space, and then when you're doing your colors, make sure that each space has a different color and there's no two spaces with the same color right next to each other. All right, guys, I can't wait to see how you do your project.